broadcast network, AFTERBUZZ TV. Over 20 million weekly downloads in over 150 countries, and your #1 source for after-show entertainment. AFTERBUZZ TV, the destination for TV superfans. Producing aftershows for over 300 of your favorite TV shows. Interviewing celebrities and showrunners. And bringing you behind-the-scenes exclusives. All thanks to Entertainment's Mariou Mandl, producer Kevin Undergaro, and internet leader Akamai. Now, let the buzz begin!
Heartbreak Hotel, this is the Heartbreak Hotel.
Just wave your hands from side to side. Yeah. It's the Heartbreak Hotel, ladies and gentlemen. Oh,
Let the beat
sing
drop.
it. Oh my gosh. It just got like super like R&B sexy in here. Like, what's up, ladies and gentlemen? This is the Are You the One after show, aka the Heartbreak Hotel. I am your host, Lim Gonzalez, and I'm always excited to be here. Of course, joining me, I have my homies, my partners in crime. Say what's up to him, Mariou Mandl.
Hi, I'm Mariou Mandl. Good to be here.
And of course, my boy, my brother from another mother, Mr. KJ Pate, Kevin John Peters.
Yo, Kevin John in the building. And once again, Lim, thanks for the just amazing introduction.
You know,
Thank you.
that's what I specialize in, amazing introductions. I'm just saying. So anyway, you know what's amazing is this episode. I was very amazed by it because it was full of amazingness. There was
Emotionalist.
It was very emotional. There was a lot of tears.
All of the feels.
All of the feelings. It was a lot going on. And it kind of started at the beginning. We had some differences in opinions with some of the couples. And then we also had a big shocker at the end, which we'll get to, which I really enjoyed just because it really sets, it's just going to set everything like into a tailspin. And I'm excited to, because we want the drama. So, of course, starting in the episode, which we always like to do, we see that Ellie, our good friend Ellie from the South,
Love Ellie.
is liking Anthony, and she's really digging him. And this is really the first time that she's kind of felt anything for someone. She's kind of, as we saw, she's kind of been left out in some of the matchups during the ceremonies. We were said earlier that there's a lot of guys that weren't really feeling her, kind of maybe got the buddy vibe from her. But here she is kind of just really honing in on Anthony. What do you think about Anthony is really drawing her?
Well, she even said it's because he's got scratches on his back already from previous trips.
Battle wounds.
Right.
Battle wounds.
Battle wounds.
And she's like, "Ooh, I like that."
Yeah.
So even if it's just for a hookup, she's at least interested
She's
at that
down
level.
for the cause. What do you think, Kevin?
First of all, let me just say I love Ellie. I want to say that first and foremost. She is my
you've been
favorite.
on Team Ellie for a while.
I am so hashtag Team Ellie.
Yeah.
Because I just love her personality, and I just love the humor. I love the element she brings to the show. But the unfortunate thing is, like, that poor girl just really can't get attention from a lot of the guys on there. And it was good to see her get some attention this particular episode. And even though she was, I guess, later on in the episode when she asked for the kiss and demanded a kiss, that made me even more Team Ellie. This woman knows what she wants.
Right.
But with her and Anthony, I guess she's attracted to the war wounds. Is that something that women attract to? Is war wounds?
Is war? You said she's attracted to the war wounds.
The war wounds. She said specifically he's got scratches on his back from another female, and she was into that.
And that's what she was into.
Yeah.
I don't know what would you call that, war wounds, or would you call that?
I just said that. I don't
something
know.
else. Like, I don't know that if you get scratches on your back, it's not because you're going to war.
Love
No,
wounds.
it's
I would say it's the love.
scars of pride.
Passion scars,
Yeah.
maybe?
Battle scars.
Battle
Battle
scars?
scars.
Okay.
Scars,
Maybe
yeah.
that's what it is.
Yeah,
I don't
it
know.
was a good battle, but Ellie's down for a good time. Like, she's there having fun. Like, you always see her in all of the shots in the background, like chatting with somebody, having a good time,
Right.
part of the drama, part of the fun.
Right.
And I love her.
I just feel bad because I think with Anthony, as somebody that's her love interest, I don't think he really feels her like that. He doesn't reciprocate. I think he's having fun. We see, when they have the lingerie party, she makes him kind of kiss him. Like, you will kiss me right now. and let's go. And then he kind of makes that.
Sometimes you got to be like that.
Right. But then the thing is, he makes that gesture.
I love a woman that's actually kind of.
He makes. Do you? Is that what you like, Kevin?
We're not going to talk about that. Go ahead.
Oh, okay.
I
You
just
brought
got
it
caught
up.
in the moment.
You brought it up. I'm just saying. But no, she makes him kiss him, but then he wipes his face, and I'm like, that's kind of disrespectful. Like, even if you weren't feeling the kiss like that, you don't have to wipe your face, especially like she's still like right there.
Yeah.
So that's why I think, like, you know, I'm glad that she's into somebody finally, but he's definitely not the right person for her. You know, he obviously is not feeling her. So, you know, we'll see. I don't think anything's going to develop from it, obviously. But it'll be interesting to see where she gravitates to next, because again, there's really nobody she's kind of really honing on into this first time.
And in the game, time is of the essence.
Exactly.
So let's make some connections.
Let's get it cracking.
She better start forcing some more forcing some more kisses to find the chemistry.
That's what she should probably do. She should make every guy kiss her, and then whoever
Exactly.
she feels the most, maybe that's it.
Right,
Maybe
and that
that's
could
the
have been
game
this
she'll play.
tactic.
Yeah.
It could have been. It could have been. We don't know because, you know, it's Ellie. Now, I want to talk about Brandon and his pillow smelling technique. He's, I'm sorry, I can't even say that like with a straight face. He said he smells the pillows and it reminds him of what he feels for, you know, the girl that he likes. And I'm
Christina,
just like,
yeah.
Christina. I'm like, really? Like, are you that? Like, I feel like as a whole, these people are so enamored with the person that they're into. And I understand it's a different situation. Normally, if you're going out with someone, you date them, you don't see them every day, all day, 24 hours a day. It just doesn't happen, especially in the beginning. So I understand that there is a kind of heightened sensibility when you're in this situation. You're living together, you're always around each other, you get to spend all this time with someone that you may be interested in. So yeah, feelings may, you know, happen a little sooner, but not this soon. And not to this degree. Like, I feel like these people are interested in somebody and all of a sudden they're planning, you know, their honeymoon.
Yeah, the drama with this, it really, it is kind of what amuses me so much about the show, and then
Right.
kind of what annoys me about the show.
Right.
Is that they all have known each other, maybe a few weeks?
A few
Not,
weeks.
Not
No.
even? It could be even less
I
than
don't
that.
think it's not been a month.
Not
We'll
a
say it
month.
like that.
And they are just like, this is my person,
Right.
ride or die. And
You know what? I'm going to have to play devil's advocate.
You
And I'm
do
going to have
that.
to say, you know what? I endorse them accelerating the love and falling for each other in an exponentially fast kind of way. Because like we said earlier, time is of the essence. They ain't got time to play around, time to get to know one another, time. You got to just put it all in. And what did what's her face say? Paris say
Open your
right
heart.
after she was like, open your heart. Now, granted, I don't know why she was trying to get all philosophical at that point in time and give.
Too soon.
But I think at the end of the day, there was some truth to that. You have to be vulnerable. You have to be open because you have to make this happen sooner than later. So I understand why they're just diving in headfirst with their feelings.
But they're also not vulnerable to the options. They pick one and they laser to that person when
True.
that might not be the match. Like so
True.
so a little bit, yes, open up and go after this, but don't close yourself off from the other options.
Well, I think it's really kind of the lesser of two evils, because if you think about it, you know, I think you want to go in and you want to find somebody that you think is your match. If you think it's a mutual situation, you kind of discover it's like, okay, I really like this person. Maybe they could be my match. I think what ends up happening though is they do that, but then they continue and then they continue, and all of a sudden they're in love. And I'm using their words because people have thrown the L word around a lot already in less than a month. And what happens is they find that they're not a match, and then they're devastated. And then they really can't go to the other person or try to find who the real match is because they're still stuck on that person. Hence, you know, our boy Brandon.
Well, I want to throw out the L word right now. I love Lem's glasses. Do you agree?
Yeah,
I'm looking at them. I was like, oh, those are really good. They're really good glasses.
That was a hell of a random segue, but
Yeah.
I love
I
Lim's
just had to
glasses
mention
as well.
it.
They-
Yeah.
and I love your necklace. It's very sparkly and
Okay.
it's I don't know. It's starting to get weird now.
Yeah.
But I just love you guys. Yeah.
Yeah, awesome.
See, we can throw out the L word,
We can
but
throw it
that's
around.
on objects.
Right.
But not in the sense
But
that,
not
like
in
this
this-
romantic sense that they're diving in head first so fast.
And we talked to Jennifer last week, and she did say, and we did get some insight. She gave some really good insight, and she said that it is difficult because you are in this situation and you do find somebody, and if you really like them, you do want to pursue them, and because you do get to spend all this time with them, understanding feelings are getting involved, but at the same time, you like someone else. So then you're kind of in this tug of war. So I can see, again, to some degree, because this is not how the real world works. But at the same time, they have to understand that they are playing a game. And if they're thinking about the game more than what's here in their heart, then they will play the game. Now, not saying they can't catch feelings or anything, but we've even said, play the game, fall in love afterwards. You know what I'm saying? You got the whole life ahead of you after this game is over. Let's get this $1 million. Let's find these matches and let's get up out of here. And like
that's
live our
very
life.
true, but that's easier said than done.
I didn't
Sometimes
say-
you can't control the emotion.
I understand. And like I said, as a man, I'm a poet. I'm sensitive.
Come
I'm
on.
about my feelings.
Come on.
I feel you. All I'm saying is if I was in this situation, I would take at what it is in consideration. Because, again, you can see what it is. You can see that these people are genuinely liking each other or finding people that they're interested in. But, again, you just don't take it too far. Now, if you find out that you're a match, like what happened in this particular episode for the first time, go at it. You know, do what you got to do. You know what I'm saying?
Propose.
Yeah, if that's what you want to do. But what I'm saying is until you get to that point, kind of keep it under wraps. Keep it under subjection. Don't get too far head over heels over somebody that you might not be able to pursue later. That's all I'm saying.
Can I just ask you guys something? Have any of you guys ever had just instantaneous attraction to somebody? Whether physically, emotionally, and instantly you built a connection and rapport with them?
Yeah,
over a short period
attraction,
of time.
things like that, but I'm not gonna love somebody that quickly.
And that's the point. You can be attracted to somebody. You could feel that there's a connection there. I think that's part of again, these people are matched up with someone else in the house. There's a perfect match for them. So that's bound to happen. Again, we're talking about falling in love. We're talking about, deciding your future. Like one of the couples we're talking about. We don't talk about roses around here. We talk about, where we're going to have kids at. And it's like, why would you talk about that? You don't even know if you're a match yet.
Yeah.
You may feel that way, but slow your roll.
Yeah.
That's all I'm saying.
And they do go into this scenario knowing they're trying to find the one.
Right.
So I get it. It's in the brain. It's swimming around. Those kind of hormones are swimming around. But they have to understand the first person they connect with may not be the one.
Right.
There's so many people.
It is a lot of people. Speaking of
True
a lot
that.
of people, some of these people get lost in transition, in the shuffle. They don't get a lot of airtime. But we did see a couple emerging, Garland and Jasmine, which I was really glad. I think they're a cute couple, number one. They look good together. I like Jasmine. I think she's real pretty. And they kind of had a moment where they were talking and, he was kind of saying, I kind of think, and I like Garland because he was kind of cool. He was like, I think you might be my match. I'm just saying, you know what I'm saying? You know what I'm saying? So I think that
So
was good.
smooth.
They wasn't like, oh my gosh, I'm in love with you. Oh my gosh, I want to meet your mom. Like, you know what I'm saying? None of that was going on. He was just like, yo, I think it might be your match. And then you decide what's cracking. You pursue it. And I think that's a good tactic to uphold. And I like the fact that they're getting to know each other. And we see later that they obviously go on the special date, which we'll get into. And how you get to that date is obviously the game. They always play a game. And it's always a ratchet game.
Always ratchet.
Always ratchet, never failing in the ratchet meter.
I mean, what was you expecting?
I'm just saying.
Okay. What was the title of this one?
This one was called Slip It In.
Good Lord.
Which was a play on terms. Obviously, in each of these games, there's some type of sexual innuendo. This one obviously did not disappoint. But what basically they had to do was the girls, the guys got to take a break. The girls had to get on these slip and slides, which I remember from as a kid. You do the slip and slide? That was like the broke people's
I used to
swimming
love
pool.
slip and slide.
Like if you couldn't afford a pool, you got like a slip and slide.
Amen.
But then it was like it would make the ground all jacked up. Like we had one, and then my mom destroyed it because it had all these dirt clots and mud everywhere. And she's like, no, we're not having this, because we just was on it all day. It was the best thing ever. So they're on these slip and slides, and then what happens is they have to grab the guys are in blocks. Their pictures in blocks, and they got to put in a number. There's a bunch of numbers there, and that number represent how many girls the guys said that they slept with. So, and some of these numbers, most of them, but one was in double digits.
Yes.
And one was too many to count.
Yeah.
Which I thought was hilarious. And these people are in their 20s, so I'm like,
And not early 20s.
yeah, early 20s.
Early 20s, less than 23.
Right. So I'm like, okay.
I mean, that's only 20 a year since they turned 18. I mean, that can happen.
All right.
Okay.
In the world of promiscuity. Not that I'm endorsing that.
possible.
Not that I'm endorsing that.
Right. Not impossible.
Right.
It's just
I mean,
interesting.
it's a lot, especially to even put yourself out there like that, to say that this is what you've done. So, but you know, the numbers came out. The girls actually didn't do too well. There was only 2 girls that got 2 of them right, and then a bunch of them got 1 right, and then it went down to time. But Leighton was the one that had the fewest. He had 9, but we know it turned to 10 because
The
he
night
got
before.
with a little somebody. Who did he get with?
With Jessica.
Jessica, who has also
Big shocker.
been someone on the first night, I believe she got with someone already. So I don't know.
But she was developing feelings for Leighton and really wanted to pursue that.
She did.
It wasn't as quick acting as the first occasion.
Well, I think a lot of it was, I think it still was bent on Leighton saying, yes, I want to do this. Because if you remember when he did, he was like, dude, I just want to release. I'm going to go and get with her because I know I can get it from her. I think if he would have said something sooner, she would have done it with him sooner.
It's true.
So I think it was just a matter of him, you know, deciding that that's what he wanted to do. But anyway, like we said, shocker. So he was at 9, really 10. Tyler was at 12. Curtis was at 18. Dario was at 20. Okay. Then it goes to 45. Alex is at 45. John is at 50. Then it goes up to 60, and we have Brandon. Then 65 is Anthony. And then the shocker for me was my smooth man, you know, R. Kelly Garland was at 100. And I'm like, and his excuse is like, oh, well, I've traveled the world and da-da-da. And I'm like, so does that mean if you travel the world, that means you sleep with more people? That's the part I didn't get.
That means that he's exposed to more opportunities and exotic women all over the place.
Okay.
That just seems exhausting. Who has time for all of that courtship? Like, there's got to be some level of courtship, right? You don't just, unless you're purchasing. There's got to be like at least an hour. It takes like a night. It takes some time.
I don't know. To a certain extent, I do understand what you're saying from a girl's perspective, but from a male's perspective, I know certain men that just, you know, they just kind of bypass the courtship and make things happen. Now, whether or not it's for purchase is, you know, up for debate, but I can see something like that happening. I remember I had a few buddies in college that would have made Garland's list look minute.
We're not saying it can't happen.
Right.
All I'm saying is it just seemed like it was a lot. And who knows, they could be exaggerating. You know, this is what they said. Nathan was the one that had too many, but in his defense, he said, oh, well, too many to count to me is over 10. So I'm like, okay, whatever, Nathan, Mr., you know what I'm saying, shapeshifter. You know, what was his, what did we say his name was? He was the one that...
he like adjusts to people's feelings, right?
Exactly.
What was he? The adjuster.
He was the adjuster. Mr. Adjuster. All right, so the people who win the date is Paris, Jessica, and Jasmine. So it ends up being Jessica picks Leighton. You know, of course, that's no shocker there. Jasmine picks Garland. Again, this is somebody she was getting to know. And Paris picks Tyler. Now, Paris and Tyler, if we remember, they were the couple that faked everybody out because they were ones that were getting together really good. And they tried to play because they didn't want to get put in the truth booth and become a perfect match without getting the experiences of being in the house. So they are the ones that tricked everybody that they weren't, you know, really getting along. Come to find out later, they really were. The house was upset at them, you know. And so it's interesting because we see in going into the party after the game that Paris ends up hooking up with Anthony. Or, I'm sorry, not Anthony. He ends up hooking up with John.
Yeah.
And so...
kissed.
Yeah, well, kissed. But again, we're talking about these people in this house. It was devastating to her. Like, she made it seem like she was married and ended up cheating on her husband. Like, that's how devastating it was. She was like, and granted, there's alcohol involved, so she's, you know, all over the place, and people are drinking, and the emotions are crazy. But my thing is, she pursued him, John, and he kept turning her down because in his mind, he was like, Tyler's my homeboy. Tyler Pratt's my dude. I know that this is the girl he's been with and kind of, you know, whatever. So I don't want to hurt him. I don't want him to feel some kind of way. She kept pushing it. He finally conceded and he was like, all right. And they kissed. And that was it, you know. But she felt guilty. So she goes to Tyler and while he's drinking a pitcher of Kool-Aid.
A pitcher.
Yeah, a pitcher of Kool-Aid. And she goes to him bearing her soul about like, I made this mistake. I made this great mistake. And he's like, who was it? Who was it? And he was like, da, da, da. And then he says, was it John? Oh my gosh, it's John. Oh my gosh, I'm going to go. And it was just like, it turned into this crazy melee of like, she's crying. He's in the booth when he's talking to the producer. He's crying. He goes out to John. He's like, if you weren't my friend, I would whoop on you. So then now he's going to beat him up but it's his friend, but it's okay. Everybody's coming over. He doesn't want nobody to touch him. My question is, do you think that they overacted?
Yeah, absolutely.
I mean, it was an obvious question, but I just had to ask it.
Totally overreacting because of the scenario, because of the game. Now they already felt like, and now they felt for a while longer than anyone that they actually were really, really connection, and they like denied everyone also. So now there's also, not only did you maybe not cheat on this guy that you kind of just met, but if you guys are a match, now you maybe messed that up.
Right.
You know, so there's that level of it. And then if you are a match, you already had lied to the house. Like, so they're just scandalous all over. It's emotional and scandalous.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely. What'd you think? What'd you think, Kevin?
I think that the simple fact that they did end up becoming a match, you know, they were a perfect match, that actually validated and justified the emotional blow up. And the reason I say that is because we saw kind of, you know, from the get-go how they established a connection and a relationship.
Right.
And it was evident that they truly did feel for one another. So I wasn't shocked by the blow up. You know, I wasn't. I expected it. Now, whether or not I feel that it was over the top or, you know, it was a little too much to handle. No, you know, because first of all, she was under the influence.
Right.
So you throw that into there. Obviously, that's going to elevate the emotion. So you know, I thought he was a little extra talking about I will beat down if you were anybody else. I thought he took it a little too far.
Right.
But
Well, it was exciting television, though.
It was exciting
Boom.
television. I just thought it was definitely, you know, they overacted. I thought John, of all of the trio of them, I thought he was the most kind of, you know, centered in the sense like he's like, dude, okay, I messed up. I'm sorry, whatever, you know, and he tries to put it on. And it's interesting how these people, you know, they're obviously on the show for a reason. They're picked, you know, from a lineup of, I'm sure, you know, hundreds of people. And, you know, obviously they all have their, I guess you would call issues for lack of a better term, which is why they're single. Either they're chronic cheaters or it's hard for them to find somebody or they have walls up that they don't let down. So it's interesting how these personalities play into, you know, in this microcosm, if we can say, of it. So like John was saying, you know, that he was blaming it on what he normally does. He's like, yeah, you know, if somebody's at me and, you know, a lot of times I just can't help myself. And so in this case, I couldn't help myself. And so, you know, I ended up doing it. So
and 3 times, like he turned her down twice,
right.
you know, 3 strikes.
And that's what I mean. Like, that's why I said he was the most, I mean, he admitted, and granted, it would be very difficult. You know, she's a pretty girl. He's obviously attracted to her. So, you know, and again, he's thinking in the back of my, and at the end of the day, let's really keep it in perspective. Nobody is together. Nobody is boyfriend and girlfriend. Nobody is engaged. These people all just met each other a few weeks ago. So no one really has titles on anybody. I understand you may like this person and this is somebody that you're interested in, but until they are a perfect match, it's a free-for-all because everybody's trying to find the match. So he really didn't have to, in my opinion, he didn't have to apologize for anything. But I understand because I was his friend, he wanted to make his friend feel safe, feel good. So he kind of did what he did. So I think in that regard, I commend him for that. You know,
at the end of the day, he violated the bro code. And that's what he had to show remorse for.
Marissa agrees with the bro code.
Yeah, he violated the bro code.
Okay, that I get, but again, if he wants to be mad at somebody, be mad at Paris because Paris pursued him. He didn't come hollering at Paris.
Very true.
Paris pursued him.
She was hunting for him at the party. She was like, "Where's?"
She preyed on him
and kept pushing it and kept pushing it and kept pushing it. So again, I'm just like, you know, I'm not. And again, if I was. I'm not going to say what I was in that situation because I wouldn't be in that situation.
Yeah.
But what I mean is that it's very difficult. And what he did, again, just kissing her, they're not together. I don't think in that setting, he didn't do anything wrong in the real world. In that setting, yeah, okay, you know, this is somebody's girl or what somebody's pursuing. But at the end of the day, he didn't really do anything wrong in the real world. That's all I mean.
And I will say, as far as their overreacting scenarios and like a lot of emotions. Like this show wouldn't be interesting if it was a bunch of level-headed people.
Well,
it just wouldn't be as
you
interesting.
You mean to tell me they're not all level-headed?
Please.
Well, obviously.
We're not all level-headed. What are we talking about?
No, I totally agree. And that's what makes for good TV. You know, you have to have the drama. There's always going to be alcohol infused in any of those situations. That's just how it goes. So anyway, we want to get to the dates. The date was really dope. They went jet boarding. I've never seen this, nor have I done this, but I was super hyped. Like this looked really like some space age Jetsons like type of thing with the water jets, and you're like kind of just flowing. I mean,
yeah, there were some shoes that they had to put on, and they put on a helmet and the life jacket and all of that. But these shoes shot water out of the bottom, and they were able to levitate over the water.
Right.
Attached to it. It was really fantastic.
Yeah.
Like, where can we do this?
Well, obviously Puerto Rico, because that's where they take this.
Okay.
So we should all,
right, let's go to Puerto Rico.
Research, we should all go to Puerto Rico, and we should do that so the next week we can tell everybody how it was.
And all of our bruises.
Exactly, because I know I would fall over.
I was about to say, if we survived it, then we can tell them.
Yeah, I'm super clumsy, so I know I would be like all bad. So they go do the jet boarding. Paris is just in shambles. She feels so bad about what happened. Obviously, Tyler, he definitely kind of put her in the ringer. He's like, I don't know if I want to go on this date with you. So he really, really made her feel bad.
And that's where with Paris, I got a little enamored with her when she was saying, I've done this before and I never feel bad, but this time I feel worse than I've ever felt in my life. And I was like, oh, well, maybe there's something real there.
But do you really believe that, though?
I don't know. The way in the moment, being me, I was like, oh, let her, forgive her.
I mean, okay, you say that, but I feel like a lot of these people, they say these things because it's a way for them to get what they want.
Right.
And if you saw the last season, it was a lot of that going on too. A lot of times, some of these guys and some of these girls would say things just to get to somebody or next to somebody, and they were really just running game, you know? And I think that, and I'm not saying that she obviously cares about, you know, Tyler Pratt. I'm not dispelling that at all. All I'm saying is if the opportunity presented itself, I'm sure she may do it again. That's all I mean.
Yeah.
So, yeah, I mean, that was a way for her to kind of get back in. She's playing the card. She's crying. She wants him to see that she's broken, that she's remorseful for kissing this guy.
I do think she really did feel that in that moment. May it not ever happen again.
Sure.
Who knows? You know.
I'll agree with that.
But like, I feel like in there, she felt it was real.
Right. Yeah. No, absolutely. And there's a lot of things that happen when you're in this setting. You're in this closed setting, and there's a lot of things that feel real because you're in the midst of it. You know. And Jennifer laid it out great when she was a great guest last week when she said that. She said you're in this, and it's difficult. And I can imagine it would be difficult. You know, so I'm not dispelling that. I'm just saying, I don't know.
But Jasmine was great. She was talking to Tyler and saying, you know, hey, you know, are you going to let this cheating thing ruin your relationship or be something that you guys can move forward from?
Right.
And then he was like, I'll go talk to her.
And I was glad he talked to her. I really did not. After all is said and done, I didn't want him to harbor these crazy, you know, feelings towards her or feel like, you know, he can't talk to her anymore because, like I said, while she was drunk, she kissed another guy, you know. So I was glad that he talked to her and they kind of made up and made amends. And I thought that was cool because that's what should have happened in that situation. It should have played out like that. It shouldn't have gone beyond that.
Yeah.
Kevin, you seem like you're in deep thought. What do you think?
I'm just thinking. I'm thinking of a lot of things. You know,
What do you think about Kevin?
what's going on in the brain of Kevin Jones?
What's going on right now?
Nah, you know, I kind of look at it twofold. You know, one, the thing is that I believe she was extremely sincere and authentic in her, you know, showing sorrow for what had happened and the fact that she truly, you know, didn't mean for that to, you know, play out the way it is.
Right.
And also the fact that she was, you know, a little tipsy as well, kind of inspired that decision.
Right.
So it's kind of like, okay, on one hand, you want to forgive her because, you know, she's sincere in her trying to make up to him. And also it appeared to be an accident. But then again, you know, it's the other hand that's like, well, you know, the thing with cheating is you can't always blame that on an accident. At the end of the day, no matter how drunk you are, you know what you're doing.
Right. True.
No, I mean, unless you're under a rupee, or is that what it's called, or something of that sort, you know.
A roofie?
Rupee. Thank you.
A rupee, not
Thank
like
you.
the money form in Legend of Zelda?
How did you know? That's what I was thinking of. Yeah, but I mean, basically,
Don't
sorry.
eat the rupees, man.
Sorry.
At the end of the day, what I'm trying to say is that she still knew what she was doing. So I'm just what I was thinking about was like, it's kind of. I can kind of see it going both ways. I mean, it's kind of difficult to forgive somebody like that because they still kind of know what they were doing. But, I don't know. Like I said, if I was in Pratt's position, it would be difficult. It would be extremely difficult for me to forget that. Because, you know that once someone does it, you know it's in them. It's kind of like if you're in a relationship and someone hits you. It could be one thing that just spur of the moment, they got upset and hit you, but then at the end of the day, it's like they still had the audacity to do that.
Right.
So you never know if you can bounce back from it. I look at that as the same way as cheating,
Right.
so.
But they're not together.
That's what I keep trying to
Yeah,
say. They're
that's
not
what you're
together.
getting at.
So you can't
But
really
they have
use
a
the word-
connection.
Right,
They have
but you can't use the word cheat. That's like saying monopoly money is real money. Like in Monopoly, like, oh, you stole all, okay, at the end of the day, it's a game. You're not playing with real money. I think these are emotions, but it's not a real scenario. They have emotions, they have feelings, but when you use these terms, it just makes it to where it seems more devastating than what it is. That's all I'm saying. And is the one that said she's cheated before. So that's what I mean. Like when she said, oh, you're the only person I felt bad about. Yeah, in that moment, I'm sure she said that and she felt that. But again, if she's cheated multiple times, and like I said, she pursued him. I'm saying it could just happen again,
Right.
With someone like that, unless they completely change who they are.
And that was another thing. She was pursuing him hard.
Yes.
Like, that's why I was
Yes.
like, oh, I don't know if it was really an accident or
Right.
you were deliberately.
Well, no, it wasn't an accident. There was no accident that
Deliberately
took
going
place.
after it.
She just made a bad judgment call, and she just felt bad for the bad judgment
Oh,
call.
because it definitely was, where's Tyler? Where's Tyler? Forget it. Where's
Right,
John?
Right. Exactly.
And then that was
it. So after the date, of course, or while the date is going on, I should say, they always get to vote of the three couples that are on the date, who gets to get voted in. So when they come back, the couples find out, they all sit down, they find out who gets voted, and it was Paris and Pratt, which
Of
was
course.
no surprise.
No shocker,
surprise.
yeah.
We knew that was going to happen. And so they go into the truth booth. They're in the truth booth. Everybody is trying to figure out, are they the match? It comes up. Perfect match.
Dun, da, da.
The crowd in the house went ballistic.
Erupted.
They went crazy. This is the first match they've had. They knew it all along because, again, they got duped the first time. They didn't vote in. They should have voted them. But anyway, they became a perfect match. So as they're a perfect match, they only have to match up 9 more people. That one's already said and done. And I think, too, with Pratt and Paris, that kind of solidifies their bond because now technically they are a match. They know they're a match. They can pursue each other without regret, without have to worry about anyone else in their house. They get to go to the honeymoon suite and kind of do what they need to do. And Tyler Pratt said, I feel good. Like I forgave her, and I want to move on, and I don't want to let that, mess us up, which he should. He shouldn't let any of that what happened because, again, they're technically not together. So don't let that mess you up. She made a bad judgment call. If you like this, they're going to go at her. And they're obviously a match, so they need to be together, according to the standards of the show.
Yes. Whatever science matchup.
That's what I was
paper
going to
they
say.
did.
What is the credibility to this science match system?
Jennifer was mentioning to us last time when she was on the phone with us. She said that they do an extensive search. There's a personality profile that they fill out. They fill out a ton of things about their likes and dislikes, familial stuff like family type things. She said it was like that's the most paperwork she's ever filled out. So they go from a ton of different areas. It's not just personality. It's not just, what your makeup is. It's a number of different things. Now, it's obviously not absolute because you can't tell what the heart, really wants, which is why this show makes it interesting because somebody could not be your perfect match, but you're in love with them. That doesn't mean that you're not in love with them or you don't want to be with them. Could they be the person you should be with? That, remains to be seen. But at the end of the day, that's what it happens with this show. They take that and then they figure out who is matched up. And in the show, we have someone who has 2 matches. So it's not like they're supposed to be with 2 girls. There's just 2 girls that are matched perfectly with this gentleman. You see what I'm saying?
From whatever test that they provided.
From whatever test that they did.
Because there's no really knowing who is your one.
There isn't.
Oh, yeah, of course. I mean, there's one, and that's God. And I don't think God is part of this MTV show. So,
Yeah. So, so they were a perfect match. I love how Paris went initially, like immediately into Oprah mode. And she said, open your hearts. Like she started preaching to everybody. And it's like the floodgates came. She's like, let every in, let the love flow. Like it was just, I was dying because it was like, here she was bawling and whatever.
A hot mess.
Feeling some kind of, kissed the guy like the night before, right? And then all of a sudden now she's preaching, love and happiness and hair grease. So I thought that was just a moment that I just thought was hilarious, that she turned into Oprah. So the one thing that, who are not a match, but they will not leave each other alone is Christina and Brandon. And they go and they hook up again. And again. And the house is just really upset because, again, they're not focusing on anyone else. They say that they're playing the game. I think it's more so Brandon. I think Christina is kind of like, she does like Brandon, but she is still free or open to meet other people. Brandon is shut down. And in the matchup ceremony, he said again, he's like, look, I like Christina. I'm not interested in anybody else in this house. So therefore, why do I want to try to find anybody else? And he got picked first, which we'll go into in just a second, but that had nothing to do with him. And even he's standing there with his arm around this girl saying that he really wants to be with Christina. So again, this kind of goes into our is this absolute? This whole situation with how they determine these matches, he obviously likes her. And regardless of how them not being a match, he still wants to be with her.
Yeah.
At the end of the day.
And that's what's going to ruin it for everybody else.
Right.
You got to put away them selfish desires and be a team player. Because at the end of the day, it's a game. Everybody needs to play their part.
They're trying to get that money.
Right. And then that's where, with the money, this matchup ceremony was my favorite of everyone so far this season because we really did get the most information possible.
Exactly. Let's get into the matchup ceremony. So it was the girls' time to pick. And so Ellie picks Brandon, as I mentioned before, who seems drunk all the time, by the way. He's always stammering his words, and I'm just like, is he drinking all day? Like, what's really going on? But, of course, there was that big feud, like we were talking about earlier, that erupted because the host is talking to them, and it's like, well, you really feel like Christina? And so everybody's just kind of like, upset and just showing their disapproval of the fact that he's still pursuing Christina. Jenny picks Anthony. But then she's kind of like, the host is talking to her about Layton, who she was liking first. And then she's basically trying to be like, she's that I want my cake and eat it too type person. Yeah. She doesn't really want to commit to anybody, but at the same time, she doesn't want to hurt anybody's feelings. Like, it's just like, she's kind of caught in the middle. And then he's kind of trying to get this information out of her. And she doesn't want to give it, she doesn't want the attention on her. So Jasmine ends up getting paired with Garland, which, we thought they were a great couple. They went out on the date. Jessica picks Layton, her crush right now. And then Brianna picks Curtis, who they feel in their mind, and they're based on their words, they feel that they have the strongest connection in the house. Brianna actually revealed to Curtis that she had a miscarriage, which was interesting. I mean, it was kind of like really like on the under, like it was like, had a miscarriage. Like it was like, it wasn't like the soft music didn't play like when she was talking, when that time. But she definitely said that she had a miscarriage and she's sharing this. So I think with them, I think the reason why they feel that is because they are sharing intimate details about themselves. And so a lot of the other couples aren't really going in depth like that. And she was the one that made the comment, there's, I don't want to talk about a Puerto Rican flower. We're talking about where we're having kids at. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. So incidentally, and then we have John, who gets picked, but then he has to choose because Christina picks him as well. So because Christina picks him, he ends up going with Christina because he's the one that's kind of going back and forth with her. He really likes her. He's kind of upset that she keeps hooking up, with Brandon, but, he's just like, look, I really feel her. I like her, so I'm going to take her.
Right. He feels very strongly about it.
does.
So I think that's a good move because it's then you can see if you're a match or not, if a light comes on or not. At least you might get some information with that.
True. So speaking of lights, of course, there was already one light that came up automatically because there was already a perfect match revealed. So now it's just a matter of seeing how many other lights are going to come on. So the host goes in, lights are supposed to come up, everybody's waiting, and then it goes dark.
Nothing.
There were no matches. None. 0. So my thing is, at first when I heard that, I was like, no matches, these guys, oh, it's horrible. They don't know what they're doing. But this is actually a blessing in disguise, in my opinion, because everybody that was paired together, you know absolutely that they are not a match.
Yep.
And the interesting part is a lot of these people that were paired together have been feeling that they're with their match. Ginny and Anthony, she's right there with them. She feels he's his match. Jasmine and Garland, he was saying he was her match. Brianna and Curtis, they're married already, you know? And then even with John and Christina, you know? So these are 4 couples that possibly thought that they could have been matches, and now they are not matches whatsoever.
That's where I like the no lights better than a few lights. Because say there's 1 or 2 lights, all of those couples think, well, we're the one.
I'm the match.
We're the ones that are the match.
Exactly.
But no lights, now we have some information.
Right.
Now we can play this game.
And what the good part about it is, even in his his infinite wisdom, Mr. Brandon, but he said it, and at first I was like, oh, he's hating, but then I was like, oh, wait, he has a point here, because now everybody gets to feel what he's been feeling, because all this time he's found out Christina's not my match, but I like Christina. I really like Christina. I do not like anyone else in the house. Now, all of these people that had these strong feelings with each other, especially, I'm curious to see what's going to happen with Brianna and Curtis, because they were really strong together. They now have to pursue someone else because they are not a match. So imagine what's going to happen with these couples. Now, my question to you is, do you think that these couples are going to split and start looking for other matches? Or do you think they're going to pull a Brandon Christina?
What do you think, Kevin? You're awfully quiet over there.
You know, it's funny. I'm gonna come back to that question, but what I was thinking about is that I have
a lot of time.
I know, right?
I understand you asked a question, but that's not what I want to talk about.
Just 30 seconds, real quick.
30 seconds.
The thing I really appreciate is how much a reflection of real life this show is. How many times have you been with somebody, or you've been with somebody, or someone like, and you know dang well they're not the one for you, but you can't help it because you really like them. Your friends may try to tell you that's not the person, and you know, but you adamantly pursue it. And I just see it so much with these people on this show. They know, well, at least now everyone knows that they're not together, but the fact that they're still not going to, you know, are they going to be receptive to that and accept that? So to answer your question, are they going to start being open to dating other people and trying to seek out other people? They have no choice but to if they want to win the money.
Right.
You know, so yeah, inevitably they're going to have to get over their crushes or whatever the deal is and start getting on the hunt, because that's the only way they're going to win the money. Is it going to be easy? Is it going to come with some adversity? Of course, but that's what's going to make this show that much. To me, the show just got interesting now. Like, this really made it interesting.
Right. So they only really have to find matches during the matchup ceremony. Who they hook up with the rest of the time is irrelevant to the game.
That is true.
Right?
As long as they play the game.
Yes. Now that's
the contingency, because that's the issue that's going on with Brandon and Christina, is that, yeah, there's no rule that says they cannot hook up and they can't be around each other. But the thing is, it's distracting them from playing the game.
That's true. So that's where, if it's somebody who can balance and understands, hey, we've got to hook up with other people. I mean, they don't necessarily need to hook up, but they need to like pursue other people and pursue
build
other
a
connections.
connection.
Right.
Build other connections,
Yeah.
but you know, you and I still have something. You got to understand and step away.
And my thing is, no one can do that in
No,
this show.
no, that's
Not
why it's
one
built that way.
person can do that in this show.
By design.
It's just not going to happen. I mean, it's been proven time and time again. It's just not going to happen. So that's why I'm saying, like, it's going to be interesting to see moving forward who's going to be like, okay, well, I want to get this money, or who's going to be like, I don't care about the money. I just want to spend time with you, and we'll be broke when we leave here.
You know who's not going to be able to let go, I feel, is Jessica.
Jessica.
Yeah.
Really?
And her Leighton connection.
Well, since you're saying that, let's just do that. Let's just go on to predictions. How
Nice.
about that?
Nice.
Let's do that.
And now, your AfterBuzz TV predictions.
Okay. Back to you, Mariou. What were you saying?
Jessica and Leighton. Jessica's been pursuing Leighton hard, and she feels like that's her guy. Now, I think, for me watching it, I don't think that they were a match. I don't think they ever were a match, but she saw something, and she was getting attention from something she's not used to. So she's like, great, I can go get a good guy. So she went after it, And now after that matchup ceremony, there was no lights.
Right.
She's like, it was like a laser beam got shot through my heart, and now she's devastated. I feel like she's not going to be able to let go.
Okay.
I could see her sabotaging other opportunities.
People that are trying to get with. Okay. Okay. What do you think, Kevin John Peters?
You know, I think that I kind of disagree with. I think Jessica is just kind of going to be open, well, figuratively and literally, maybe, who knows, from here on out. But you know, as far as her trying to sabotage whoever tries to come, you know, I guess who tries to come in between her, I don't know, because she has yet to really all out commit to anyone, with the exception of this episode. So I don't know, it'll be interesting. My prediction, I mean, tonight just shook up everything. So you know, I say that Garland and Ellie start to build a connection.
Really?
As random as it's, I'm gonna just go with something random wild card.
He's just gonna make up stuff.
I'm just gonna make up
That's
something.
what I feel like is happening.
I just look for Garland and Ellie to mark that down. Mark that down.
It's gonna be on wax.
Right, and then when that light lights up, and we're gonna be like, well,
that's
he said it. Go buy a lottery ticket.
Sure.
Right.
Okay. My prediction is, I think, for me, the hardest is going to hit with Brianna and Curtis. I think Brianna and Curtis, because like I said, they really feel like they have this deep connection, and they're not a match. And I think this whole time they were just set on it because, like I said, of their intimate talks and the sharing with each other or what have you. So I think it's going to be very difficult for them to kind of separate and kind of go their extra ways. I do agree that Jessica maybe have some sabotage tendency. She seems like the type that, you know, she's like, I really like him. You know, I don't want anybody messing with him. But also the fact that, you know, she seems like she does want to find someone. And if that's not him, maybe she may move on. I don't know. But it could go either way with her. But my thing is set on Brianna and Curtis having a hard time. So what do you predict? We want to know. Let us know. Go on and tweet us at the show. This is the end of the show, as a matter of fact, which is where we're at right now. But we want to make sure that you tune in next week. But we want to make the comments on YouTube. Make sure you rate us, give us 5 stars. But we do want to know what you think. Who do you think is going to have the hardest time? Which of the couples? Let us know. Tweet us, all of that kind of stuff. My name is Lim Gonzalez. You can tweet me at The Poet Saint. And that's also on Instagram at The Poet Saint. You can tweet a picture. That's what you do. Mary Lou, where can they tweet you at?
You can find me on Instagram at Twitter at Mariou Mandl. That's MariouMandl.
Thanks for spelling it.
I have to every time.
Yeah, that is true. Well, fortunately, I don't have to spell my name. It's pretty easy. At Hey Kevin John. You can find me on there on Twitter and Instagram, or my website is kevinjohn.com.
Perfect. Well, again, that's our show. We want to thank you for tuning in. Have a good night.
Are you the one?
Whoop, whoop.
From executive producers Maria Menounos, Kevin Undergaro, Phil Svitek, and the entire AfterBuzz TV staff, we would like to thank you for listening to the AfterBuzz TV network. To watch or listen to other after shows and post comments or questions, be sure to visit AfterBuzzTV.com. I'm Sir Richard Wentworth, and this has been a presentation of AfterBuzz TV.
Buzz you later.
The views expressed herein are those of the hosts only and do not necessarily reflect the views of AfterBuzz TV or its owners or principals.